In this tutorial, we'll cover the Live Paint tool. So Live Paint tool is similar to the blend in which you make a live paint object. So instead of a blend object, we'll make a live paint object. So let's start by going and drawing some lines. I'm also just going to use some standard shapes. So if you want to use standard shapes, you can select from any of these standard shapes here. And right now I'm going to paint, so I'm going to just leave my fill off and then only use stroke colors and line weights. I'll draw one more line here. And I'll change that color. So what Live Paint will allow you to do is basically use a paint bucket to fill some of these cells that are created by the overlapping geometries or the overlapping lines. So for example, if I want to fill this with a purple, you can't unfortunately just use the paint bucket, which is located right here. So the paint bucket shortcut is K, but the paint bucket is located under this tool, sort of midway down your toolbar on the left. So if you select and hold down your left mouse button and then hover over Live Paint, that'll give you a Live Paint tool. Unfortunately, you can't just start painting, and it'll tell you why in this little dialog. To create a Live Paint object, you have to select all the objects or lines that you want within that Live Paint object, and then you have to go to Object, Live Paint, Make. One thing to keep in mind here is if you have some objects like text selected within this group, then the Live Paint won't actually work, so this will be grayed out. So you know if you go to Live Paint and Make and it's grayed out, that means you have some objects selected that won't actually paint. So it looks like mine will work here, so I'll say Make, and then I'll go back to my paint bucket tool, which is over here. Or remember, the shortcut is K. So now if I want to start to fill, I can select a fill color. Let's say we select this bright pink here, and then I'll turn my stroke color off because I'm using a fill, and then I can start to fill in these spaces. I can always change this, so I can change the color. Let's say I go with more of a yellow, and now I'll begin to fill using the yellow color. One thing you'll notice if you select this, similar to the blend tool, it's all within one group. So if you want to break this up so you can actually select some of these individually, then you'll want to select the whole Live Paint, go to Object, Live Paint, and remember you want to expand always from within the tool, so Live Paint Expand, and then you can always go to Object, Ungroup, and now I can select each of these colors individually. You notice that each of these are also in a group, so I could select this and then go back to Object, Ungroup, and group one more time. Now each of these is completely individual. You can always select one of these and then change the color. So let's say I make this a blue, and it'll change that color to blue. You can always change the opacity as well. So if I want this opacity to be a little less, you can change the opacity, and notice it won't have any effect on any of the lines or other paints. This is now a separate object, so the opacity will only affect that object.